Wow, we didn't even ask Mike if he was ready to go live. Are you
Didn't
ready?
even know. Didn't know we were going live. So
We go live. We have to go live with. Today's the last day we're using the War on Drugs music. We have to go live so it doesn't get pulled off of YouTube. It's like a whole thing. So,
I live my life live.
hmm. Would you rather, if you had the option to pre-record your life, would you do that? Like sort of perfect it, edit it, and then put it out for the people, or do you
Yeah, I
prefer?
mean, I think that's what being a writer is. I think
Yes.
I just pretend like it's like everybody, all my little typing character, my little minions are me. What if I did this? What if I had
What?
like a cool job? What if I had like a cool superpower? What if I was stupid as shit? Like any of those things. That's what writing is, and very fun.
Is everyone that you write some version of you on
No,
some level? No. Okay.
no. I mean, I think probably a lot of the way they speak is all
Yeah.
probably me. It's hard to change that, but
Yeah.
you at least for me, it's like if I try to like get something off of this is writer chat. If I try to get somebody like, oh, I'm gonna do like someone like this kind of character, then I'll think about like, if it's someone in my life or something that
Yeah.
I'll try to like emulate their speaking pattern or something.
But on some level, and then we'll start. This is the pre-show. This is just the pre-show. On some level, it is still. I guess this is just human. This is my version of what this person would say. So it's still
Sure.
like a version of you doing that. On some level, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, however
The
much
whole
it is
thing.
based on like I'm trying to make this character seem a certain way versus this character is just serving the plot and like
Right.
moving the story along.
Right. All right.
Pre-show chat.
Yeah, pre-show chat. Good pre-show chat. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. Of course, it's a football Sunday if you're watching this live. So great day for DraftKings Sportsbook. As brought to you by Body Bio, supplements for a healthier life. Get 20% off your order, any order, not just first, with code RTRS20 at bodybio.com. LL Pavorsky Jewelers, or Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners, go and get engaged. And Kinetic Skateboarding, very special. If you buy a snowboard from Kinetic right now through the rest of the season, you get free tunes for the rest of the life of your board. So I've heard like what Ben said was you got to get your snowboard tuned like every 5 uses or so, and that can cost like $50. But if you buy a snowboard from Kinetic right now, free tunes for the life of your board. On the show today, it is the Halloween version of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. The Sixers dress up like a good team last night and obliterate the Hawks. Get it? Will Joel Embiid ever take a night off? Rating some candy and getting into the mailbag as a Ricky listener shares with us a bathroom situation on the day of his wedding, which was yesterday. That's all we got. And without any further ado, for the final time on the Ricky, at least for this run, the War on Drugs.
Lying in my bed, a creature void of form, been so afraid of everything, I need a chance to be reborn.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who does not have a war on drugs, but does do his dishes occasionally on drugs. That is Mike Levin. That was revealed in the last pod.
I love that album, and I like those guys, and I'm very happy that I'm confused that they talked to us on the eve of their release for as long as they did.
Yeah,
and,
it was awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
So thank you. The War on Drugs, their new album, I Don't Live Here Anymore, came out on Friday. If you missed the pod, Adam and Dave were on with us for like an hour the other night. It was a lot of fun. And to your point about the album, it is, and we said during the pod, and I said during the pod, it is so good. And I think even for them, because they have a reputation of making great albums, I think it is a step up. They almost like perfected it in a way, what they do. And I don't like to make comparisons to the band because they don't always like it. But and they get compared to Springsteen a lot, but there are like Genesis vibes in there. There's like Petty vibes in there.
Mhm.
It's such a cool full album. I was listening to it. We were driving to dinner last night, and I was listening to it. It's such a great album. So I don't live here anymore. They have it on. It's obviously streaming everywhere, but they have it on vinyl. They sell it on cassette, and some very average merchandise, but a great album cover at thewarondrugs.net. So thanks again to the War on Drugs. Thanks to Adam and Dave, and check out the record. You know what? We'll just start off with the 5-star review, and then we'll get into the game. The Apple Podcast 5-star review, we're at 2,942 as we soldier on to 3,000. When we get to 3,000, I read all of them on a pod again, unfortunately. This one comes from East Van Matt. I'm a Raptors fan, but I'm a regular listener. The hosts don't pretend to be objective sports journalists, but are knowledgeable and funny. This pod is about the anguish all passionate fans endure.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it is. That's what it is. So the Sixers with I would say on some level, a stunning, convincing victory over the Atlanta Hawks. They had been basically painful to watch most of the year, not just because of how they had played, but because they had won, they had some good runs, but the overall situation and the just sort of like disorganization overall with the rotation, with the offense, with the defense. But somehow they come out of the win with the Hawks with the number one offense in the NBA in terms of offensive efficiency. Here's some stats, Mike. The Sixers number one in offensive efficiency. They are number one in effective field goal percentage. They're number one in free throw percentage. They are number 4
free throw percentage, shooting from the line, not free throw rate.
Correct.
Free throw percentage. Sorry.
Correct. They're number 4 in 3-point shooting this year in terms of percentage, and they're number 10 in 3-pointers made per game. They were 24 last year. And then the interesting thing about the defense, and I think like rank is more important, even though last year they were number 2 in defensive efficiency and they're number 16 this year, their defensive efficiency is actually better than it was last year, as far as like points per possession. So my question to you is, have they secretly been good and we've just been miserable, or have they really been as like, uneven and trepidatious as it seems?
I think they've been uneven.
Okay.
I think it's right. I mean, a lot of things are helped by the fact that Seth Curry is shooting like 75% from 3. Which makes it easier. I mean, the thing that the team does have in adding George Niang and looking around at Seth as one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Danny is one of the most solid, although he gets hot and cold. And Korkmaz, who's also one of the better 3-point shooters in the league. And then a number of guys that are just solid. Tobias solid, Maxey getting to solid, Isaiah Joe if he needs to play, shake a little bit here and there. Is they just have a ton of shooting now. And they have guys, they only got the one person in the rotation who doesn't shoot threes is Andre Drummond. And that just makes it, if you're hot, it makes it easy to rack up points quick. And last night they played really fast, which was, I think, one of the drawbacks before. Is that they were just playing incredibly.
They were last in pace. Yeah,
they were very slow. You could tell, especially in the third quarter, they turned it on, and there were a couple of possessions where they just went like 7 seconds or less Suns and got it up really quickly. And that's Maxey pushing the pace. That's Tobias pushing the pace. That's Seth being willing to take like contested threes, a lot of that stuff. And so it's nice to see. That was definitely. I mean, look, it was a great game, especially against the Hawks. A very necessary game. It felt like.
A demon's exercising game.
Absolutely.
On some level. Yeah.
And one that like the whole team agreed, like, we're not fucking losing this game. Like it felt a little almost like if I was a Hawks fan, I'm saying this, if I was a Hawks fan, I would have watched that game last night and been like, all right, chill. Like,
yeah,
it's the fucking regular season, guys.
It's the 6th game of the season. Relax.
Yeah. Because the Sixers beat the Hawks by a lot during the regular season last year. But if I was a Hawks fan, I'd be like, yeah, I bet you needed that. Do you feel better now? Like, that's how I would be doing it. But I'm not, and I do feel a little bit better, to be honest. But yeah, they looked really good. The defense looked really, really good.
I was going to say that they competed defensively. Everybody competed. Maxey competed. Milton competed. I thought defensively, it was probably overall the best Thibault game of the year, both defensively, and he wasn't a mess offensively,
No, it was good.
so on and so forth, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was the team has the role players have become like really very high level shooters, and they need everyone to do exactly what their job is. Like they need Maxi to push the pace. He is the only one capable of doing that, with especially with Ben not here and Grant Riller being the only other point guard on the roster and him being out. There's really no one else to do it. So they desperately need Maxi to push the pace. Tobias also needs to get to the rim and hit his shots, and he had a nice game. And they need those other guys to shoot. And then Embiid, when they double Embiid, they need him to make those passes, and they need him to finish through contact and everything. By the way, I've said this before. NBA teams double way too much. Way too much.
Especially in the post. Like, what are you doing?
Especially in the post.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I mean, Embiid obviously is a guy that can get to the rim and get fouled and all that stuff. And if you don't want Capella picking up so many fouls, it's fine. But refs won't like call back-to-back fouls on a post player. They're human beings and they're reluctant to do it. The idea that Embiid posting up Capella from 16 feet out is a worse outcome than Seth Curry's man doubling him,
right,
and Seth having a wide open top of the key three. That is very bizarre to me. I really don't understand it. I think coaches must just love the idea of no easy shots whatsoever, and getting the ball out of their hands, and the idea that their players can rotate so fast, which obviously they can. But I really think so often you should just live. I mean, obviously the Sixers are an example of Seth Curry just dying on Kevin Huerter every time. But you're not gonna like double him. But I think as a whole, it's just too much. You're giving up open looks, and I'd rather take a contested look in the post, even if it sometimes results in a foul, than a wide open look from three.
Dude, every time, as you said, Embiid is actually good in the post.
Yeah.
But
some players aren't, and they're still getting doubled. It's crazy.
Most players aren't. Most players are bad in the post. Almost every player. There's probably 10 good post players in the entire NBA. Just because a player has a size advantage in the post, I'd be like, go ahead, fucking try it. You know, totally. I would make that player beat me literally 3 times before I doubled him.
Yeah.
And Capella
or change, or then you change the lineup. Sorry, sub that guy out or something. I would never double if I'm another team. I would never double Tobias in the post. I would never do it.
Right,
like Tobias gonna hit shots. He's gonna like back down. He's gonna use turnaround, whatever. But that's a tough shot.
Yeah,
that is a tough shot, and you don't want. The idea of giving up. They give up an advantage so much. They give up especially against a team like the Sixers. Now we're just scouting against the Sixers, but especially against a team like the Sixers, they don't have many guys that. Tobias has a quick first step sometimes. Maxi's first step is elite. But they don't have that many guys that can just all of a sudden get wherever they want. And so once you double someone that doesn't need to be doubled, it's just handing them an advantage. It's honestly like bunting in baseball, where you're like, thank you for bunting, thank you for giving up an out. It's very bizarre to me that they do it so much, and I think it's because coaches just prioritize.
I can't figure it out.
It must be we don't want this guy to beat us. So if we don't want this guy to beat us, then that means that we have to get the ball out of his hands at all costs. I think maybe I wouldn't say don't blitz a pick and roll and get the ball out of his hands that way. But when the ball is, I don't know, it's when you're one easy pass away from an easy shot. To me, it's very bizarre. Sorry.
Well, and it was doubling off of Curry was when I would at least make Embiid. He's shown a propensity to turn it over and maybe not make the pass when it's not right in front of him, force it a little bit.
Sure.
The one pass away thing was just even crazier. And the one pass away being Curry was crazy. So I thought they competed really well. And you were saying Maxi, once again, he improved as the game went on. He had a couple of really important buckets in the fourth quarter. I thought every player, not every player, Embiid, Tobias, Maxi, every time that the Hawks started to inch closer, one of those guys would make a couple of baskets. And it was actually Maxi in the fourth that just sort of kept the game out of reach, and him being fast and him getting to the rim. So
yeah, I thought it's such a pleasure.
Game went on. Yeah,
it's such a pleasure watching him get to the rim and finish. And he's going to keep drawing contact. He got to the line a little bit. off of those takes. His defense, though, I thought, putting him on Trae Young is a really tough assignment. Trae Young's an excellent player. He's a really smart player. He is going to do that junk shit, which even in the new rules NBA, he's occasionally going to get. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
And even one of the junk shit he did, he still hit that shot. It's just like, well, what are you going to do? It's effort and speed, and the Sixers just don't have that much speed. They played fast last night, but like Maxey just making it hard on him. Matisse obviously contesting like crazy. Like they just need that to happen. There was even a play when Danny like ran down the court faster than I've seen him run down the court and strip the ball from Bogdan. And is like you just need some of that. And that's why when you watch the Raptors, like they're not a great offensive team, but they just play so fast defensively. Their like arms are all up in you so quickly. And
by the way, always that the Raptors have done that for the last 5 years.
Yeah, that's been their MO for a while since they got OG, and Kyle has helped. But I think Maxey's like Trey's going to get his shots. He's going to get looks. He's going to have step backs. He's going to have floaters. What you can have is him getting to the line and him throwing very easy lobs to Capella or John Collins. And Embiid did an excellent job of preventing that, and Maxey did an excellent job of contesting enough to make it hard. You just got to make it hard. Make it hard without fouling. You're not going to stop him ever, but you make it hard without fouling, and it's fine. I thought Maxey did a great job. I thought Doc did a great job not putting Danny Green on him. What an awful decision that was in game 1 of the series. Honestly, that decision might have hurt Danny. Because it was a hamstring that Danny was out before, right?
Yeah.
That was what it was. So like that decision might not have only like lost them the game, but also lost Danny for the rest of the series.
Hurt Danny physically.
Hurt Danny. Hurt me physically. Just an awful call. Danny's a very good defender, even at his age, but you just can't put him on a guy like Trae Young. That was a ridiculous proposition from the beginning. But I thought Maxey's good, and his defense has come such a long way, and I'm really happy. Look, I was probably too down on the Sixers before. I think broader overall, like this team didn't have a chance to melt down in the fourth quarter because they at least held the lead. But I do worry with the lack of speed and aggressiveness and foul drawing outside of Joel, how this team can, win tight games when the defense is like really turned it on. But
sure,
this game was delightful. They have a lot of good players. The offense has been good as threes keep falling. Niang is genuinely like an excellent 3-point shooter, and I love him. I love George Niang, and I love all the things he can do. He's so much better than Mike Scott. I'm not even going to apologize to Mike Scott anymore because we've done it like 4 times. But like, he's so much better than Mike Scott.
Mike Scott didn't even play really.
Yeah, he got out of rotation. And I will say, sorry, and we're jumping around, which is a different. Usually I go play by play. We're jumping around, but I thought Shake has really added a lot to the team, like pretty quickly in the 2 games he's been back. And even Isaiah Joe is a guy I believe in, and I want to play, and I want to like give Danny breaks over the course of the season. Like just give him a night off, give somebody a night off for God's sakes. And so just let Isaiah Joe be the 10th guy in the rotation because he is obviously out of it right now. But Shake being in has definitely helped ball handling and creation and all that stuff.
Mike, we're doing this show live on a Sunday morning, which we tend not to do during the football season because there's football going on. But I'm going to give you, I haven't given a football pick this year. And I've been generally down since the beginning on the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
But at DraftKings Sportsbook right now, if you're watching live, Eagles are -3. Eagles are my lock of the year so far in the NFL.
Lock.
Eagles -3 is a lock.
I don't know, man.
Eagles -3 is a lock.
Things are melting down. These Sixers are, even with Ben, the Sixers are the most harmonious team in Philadelphia.
Boy,
I don't know about the Flyers. Maybe
this is going to be funny to listen to maybe on Monday morning. But Eagles lock -3.
Well, even if they beat the Lions, it's still not like everything's coming up roses for.
No. I certainly don't think that the quarterback or the head coach are a keeper. But I'm saying this game right now, Eagles -3. NBA also on DraftKings Sportsbook, authorized betting partner of the NBA. Key to victory is a strong starting 5. So you can bet $5 on any NBA team, new customers only on this one, any NBA team to win their game. If they do, $200 in free bets. That goes through November 8th. So if you're a new customer, DraftKings Sportsbook, maybe you go in, you hit up my lock of my NFL lock of the year, Eagles -3, and you bet $5 on any NBA team to win. If they do, you get $200 in free bets. They also have same game parlays, which is great for NBA or NFL. You combine bets from one game and you get this like huge payout. I haven't won a same game parlay yet. I've only done it once so far. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code RTRS. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game and win $200 in free bets. Again, promo code RTRS. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game. If they do, you get $200 in free bets. Code RTRS. DraftKings Sportsbook, an authorized betting partner of the NBA. You got to be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or PA only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. To your point about Shake Milton, I do think that I have not seen one time so far this season. Now, he's only played 2 games, but I have not seen him do like the little temper tantrum thing that he has done. He has been more under control. I would love to see the personnel he played with last year versus this year so far. But I do think it's weird. I can't tell if it is confirmation bias of the shots going in or not going in, but everything was short last night for him on threes, and he looked like he was pushing it again.
Yeah, it did look worse.
Okay, so it's not just me, right?
I agree with you. It was definitely short, and it definitely looked a little bit heavier. There must be like what's the opposite of Deflategate, where they just someone comes in just like really quickly, just like makes the ball heavy. Some like little alien comes in and like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's something going on.
He also hasn't done, to your point, he hasn't been whining, which like it's frustrating when guys do it. And it's frustrating when like guys who are not good enough to do it, and that was him in previous seasons. But he also hasn't done the like drive into like directly into a defender and then just like get swallowed up. Yeah. Like let's move the ball. Let's get the angle. Let's like use your length to get around them to finish past them, rather than it's not like he's particularly strong or athletic as an NBA player. So he's not going to win those. Basically he going up for jump balls like with the ball in his hand. He's going to lose those, and he did, and the refs didn't bail him out in the past. And I like that he hasn't done it. I mean, I'm sure it'll happen sometimes, but I don't mind him seeking out contact, but do it in a way that's not destined for failure. But I think he's definitely helped.
Embiid has not taken a day off, even though he has made sure that everyone knows that his knee is hurting him. It's obvious that it's hurting him. The one thing that I think it is affecting the most is, last year he was so deadly from the mid-range. And I would love to see, by the way, his shooting percentage before and after no fans, because I wonder if that had something to do, playing in empty arenas, him just being deadly from mid-range. But even when you watch him shooting free throws right now, the shot is heavier, and he almost seems like he's physically trying to angle it in after he shoots it, sort of like using like body English to get it in. I think not having his legs under him is affecting his shot as much as anything else. His free throws usually look very, very pretty. They're hitting the back rim hard, even though they're going in. And he's obviously has not been hot from mid-range like he was last year. I wonder when they're just going to get him a fucking game off or something. And by the way, them putting him back in up 24 with 6 minutes left was sort of a questionable decision.
No, I mean that was everyone has agreed we're not losing this game. That was like 100% like no fucking around here. We can fuck around against the Magic or whatever, but like we are putting this game away. We are all going to collectively like smash some bottles after this game and burn our jerseys from the past. Like it's a very Friday Night Lights moment. We're all like, this is a holistic therapeutic experience and we're not letting it, like, we're not going to steal 2 minutes from Joel. We're going to be like, it's fine. We're all playing this one to the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I saw Neubeck and Rich Hoffman were both mentioned it last night in their online and on their recaps. They mentioned Joel as a guy that's like having bad touch. And I really don't think of him as that kind of player. I mean, I think inside he's certainly missed a couple high profile, like somewhat easy bunnies when it gets physical. But I think of him as a guy that, especially touch on that little mid range, I feel like it sits, and his foul shot, like you mentioned, like it sits so nicely on the rim. But I do wonder if lately, he obviously hasn't been hitting as many shots as he usually does this season. And I wonder if it is like, is he using too much arm basically, rather than, because he doesn't want to, elevate as much off of the knee. I will say last night he looked the best he has looked, at least physically this season.
You thought?
Yeah, I did think so. I think he, especially defensively, he was moving really well. It didn't seem like he was forcing it too much. There was one play where Capella tried to take a charge from like kind of 7 feet out, which is a bizarre move, and Embiid sort of like snaked around him and finished with a dunk. I thought that was evident of his mobility and balance and control. But yeah, I think the weird thing, and I wonder if this is a lack of elevation thing or just the offense that he's trying to do to as much or more than he's usually done on the defensive end, is that they are susceptible to getting beat on the offensive boards. Last night the Hawks had 20 offensive rebounds, which is crazy. The Hawks also missed a bunch of shots, and the Sixers got a bunch of leak outs off of them crashing the glass. So I wouldn't say that it's all bad. But there were times when the Sixers were just not closing possessions out. I think there were a bunch of times. John Collins is obviously a great offensive rebounder. And there were times when Tobias just didn't get a body on him, or nobody, like the Sixers, it feels like the Sixers have benefited or have never, the concept, and I've talked about this before, the concept of like a long rebound, and it has never entered a Sixers head. Once you become a Sixer, it just goes. As like everybody, Seth Curry, like converging on the rim to like only watch the ball bounce over his head and like get an easy rebound to somebody else and keep the possession going. But Tobias, I think, missed a couple rebounds opportunities. He ended up with 11 rebounds on the defensive end, and like that's good. But there were too many times, especially without Ben, where the guys are just assuming someone else will get the rebound. And I think that's where this team can choose to play fast as they did. This team can choose to play a little more physical as they did. But when instincts kick in, like just reaction time off a rebound, it just seems like they're a little bit slower than most other teams. And I think that's why they'll get these up.
Their starting lineup is significant, is not like that athletic. You talk about rebounding, it's just not a great athletic starting lineup. You know, Maxey is small. Seth Curry is not a great athlete and is slow. Danny Green is 100 years old and wipes back to front. And Tobias has never been like a super rebounder or anything, and is not like he's a fine rebounder.
Yeah, rebounds his position.
Yeah, it's really just Joel. And I think you mentioned Toronto, and you look at a team like Atlanta, and you see guys like Collins and Hunter and who's the guy, the other young guy that they had, Reddish. Like these are just like electric sort of athletic guys, and the Sixers really don't have too many of those. Like Niang is fucking slow, Cork is slow, they're slow. So I think that I hurts him with rebounding. It hurts him to getting to long rebounds too, because they're just not particularly quick.
Yeah, and you saw that in the Hawks series last year. Also, it wasn't even with Ben. That was still a problem. We got to talk about Matisse for a quick second.
Yeah, it was a crazy game from him.
He was excellent, and I think really nice on the offensive end. I see improvement. I'm going to will improvement happening. I'm willing it to like the shot looks pretty good most of the time. Occasional like weird air ball, let it go. But
the air ball looked like he was looking at a rim that was 3 feet to the left of where
that was tough. That wasn't great, but I still believe in it. And you can see he's way more comfortable driving and attacking a closeout. Guys still do, for the most part. I don't think it'll happen in the playoffs, and he'll need to make a lot more. But guys still do like come out to contest him. He's not a total nothing out there. It's not like Joel waving at somebody and like go fucking shoot it. And you can see he's driving with both hands, and he has like he's tried this a couple times where he has a weird like lefty scoop finish from like a little bit too far out. Honestly, like the 5 to 6 foot range. but he keeps doing it, and he hit one last night. It looked a little bit weird, but I think it makes me think that he hits it in practice and like has a little bit of that like just kind of offbeat, capable of doing this, and I believe in it going in. I believe in him being able to do that kind
I
of stuff.
just want him to stand still and hit threes.
I know he's not going to do
That's-
it. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
that's
But I think
all
I see
want.
more comfort. I see comfort happening, and obviously defensively, just like ridiculous. Like 4 steals and 3 blocks in
He was crazy last night.
23
Yep.
minutes is just insane. You know, he played good defense on Trey when he was on there. The Cam Reddish blocks were some of the most
Crazy.
ridiculous things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Obviously, the one block of the 3 in the corner, that was nice. We've seen him do that before. But like him as Reddish is snaking around a screen, Matisse spiking it to himself.
Yeah.
Like he's not spiking it and it goes out of bounds and like the crowd goes crazy. He spiked it and like just threw it down and it became a dribble. It just became, I'm dribbling the ball now. And then to hit the shake for a really nice spin move on Reddish into a finger roll. That was really nice. That was Reddish looked good last night. I mean, he's a guy, definitely impressive athlete, impressive watching him play. I don't know how good of a player he is, even though like he is very talented right now. Still a lot of room to grow. But that was, I mean, just some ridiculous stuff. Matisse, yeah. I think the traditional, you know, you mentioned it last time. We've talked about it a couple times. Like, is Matisse the best one-on-one defender in the league? I don't think so. I don't think he's even in the top 5. Like, if you want like one stop, you need one guy for possession.
Right. Lockdown guy.
You want someone a little bit more like sturdy, physical, like unwilling, like immovable. And Matisse isn't that guy yet. And maybe he becomes a little bit later. But like he's a different kind of defender like that. Like he can make stops. He can like come back on and make like rear contests and all that. But like for him to be that much of a weapon everywhere. There was one time I slowed it down watching it. There was it was like a little, I think it was Herder Gallinari in like a 2-man game, and Embiid and Matisse wasn't in there. He was just like, his guy was at sort of like the foul line extended a little bit over. And so he's just helping a little bit. He's just like kind of in like a tagging position. And he read the pass that was about to happen. It was going to Gallinari. It was right before Gallinari tripped him. I think it was that possession. He read the pass so far ahead of when the pass was being made. He just saw it happen and got there so fast. And his hands are so good for his anticipation to poke it out. And he's just a really, really special player. And I think it's a different kind of lockdown defender. You're not used to seeing it like that. He's not Marcus Smart. He's not even OG Anunoby, like those kinds of, he's not Kawhi as prime. Like he's not like, I am going to stay in front of you and you will not do anything. He's different. It's a very different feel. But I think the net result of effectiveness wise is he's easily one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. And it impacts the game on the defensive end at a level that like I think is even hard. Even the steals and blocks, I think, don't quantify it. Like I think he's just like a really, really special player.
Yeah, I said last year, and I would sort of double down on that, is that he is somehow the defensive version of a Lou Williams. Like he comes in and can change the game in like a 3-minute span based on how he plays. And sometimes, you know, that same sort of player can, you know, his belief in himself offensively, I think could hurt them in a big game, but he is, I don't think I've ever seen anything like him defensively, honestly. I've seen better defenders in terms of like solid and man on man and that sort of stuff. And like Kawhi at his prime, Iguodala at his prime are probably like the 2 best perimeter guys I've ever seen in terms of that, in terms of knowing where the other guy's going to go and all that kind of stuff. But I've never seen anything specifically like what Matisse Thybulle is. Before we get to Halloween candy, which I know we've done before, but it's Halloween, I feel like we should do again. That's something that's going to make you not healthy. Something that will make you healthy is Body Bio. Body Bio is our supplement company. They are family owned, family operated right there in Jersey, which is a good thing because they are smaller and more nimble, because science changes very quickly. And, you know, you should be getting most of your health from what you eat and sleeping right and all those sorts of things. But Body Bio helps you on the margins. Two things I want to talk about are hydration and vitamin C, because you're probably doing both of them wrong. With hydration, it's about more than drinking water. It's about electrolytes. And you want to do that without drinking like Gatorade. You don't want a bunch of sugar. You don't want artificial colors. You don't want artificial flavors, none of that stuff. And that's what Elite is for. Elite is just electrolytes. Body Bio makes it. You just take a cap full of it. You put it in your water in the morning. Put it in anything that you drink. That's all. And it makes you healthier. Like you being hydrated properly makes you healthier, makes you a healthier person. For me, it got rid of my cramps in my legs that I used to have all the time. And the other one I'm going to talk about is liposomic vitamin C. You probably have taken a multivitamin or a vitamin C supplement, and they're all fine. But liposomic vitamin C is better because more of the vitamin C gets into your cells, right? Most vitamin C is water soluble, so it goes into your body and then it sort of like dissipates, you pee it out. Liposomal vitamin C gets into your cells. That's how it's designed. So your body absorbs more of the vitamin C. Your cells are like made of lipids, so the vitamin C just sort of stays in there until it gets to your cells. Anyway, Body Bio. Just trust me on both these things. Go to bodybio.com, use promo code RTRS20 for 20% off. That is bodybio.com for 20% off everything at bodybio.com. Thank you, Body Bio. Anybody else before we get to the mailbag and some candy? I think we talked about everybody, right?
Have we talked about everybody? Yeah, I mean, I thought Tobias was offensively really good. I thought it was a nice Tobias game. Decisive.
Creator stuff.
Yeah, moved well, found guys, didn't hold the ball for too long. I think that's the ticket. That's what we need from him. And it's like weird to see. It's just not in his nature. Like, it's weird to see him be like, he's a leader. He is very effective going downhill, and he works his ass off. And like, it's clear that guys respect him. But like the things that we need him to do that are capable of doing, he just doesn't like doing it. It's not in his nature. It's like a little bit like Carmelo, except like Tobias seems more willing to bend than Carmelo did at his height.
And also isn't nearly as good a scorer as
of course. Yeah, right. So it's weird, but last night was great. You know, we gotta respect the good Tobias games, and it's good. He didn't have there were a couple. It's weird how memory works. Like, I'm trying to think, what did Tobias play well in the Hawks series?
Well, the numbers would tell you he did, actually. I think he averaged like 21 and 8 or something, but you know,
he was
like
carrying them for some of it.
But like the thing that you have to have watched is that, like, you know, they would go through these huge stretches where they couldn't fucking score. And if you're our Carmelo facsimile, you have to be able to get a bucket. You know,
sure.
He can't in the playoffs.
For sure.
So,
but it was nice to see him have a nice game against a team that, you know, him and Joel are like very clearly the leaders of this team. And it was just, I think everybody needed this. I think if they lost this game, like, they would have been 3-3, whatever. It's early, but I think it would have been kind of a disaster.
Before we get to the candy, as it is Halloween, what do you mentioned Tobias as a leader several times. He has become an NFT guy.
I know, this is tough.
He tweets about NFTs and this is my statement on NFTs. And Abby, our artist, has really leaned me this way. The problem with NFTs is that they make when you think about you buy like a limited edition poster and it has a hologram on it that says it's real. What NFTs do is they make the important thing the hologram and not the art. So that's what, like, I understand the technology and how the technology could be valuable, but all these guys just buying fucking avatars for $50,000, and saying that they own. Like, so Tobias his avatar is on Twitter, is an NFT of him, I guess. I don't know. And is buying NFTs, is tweeting about NFTs. Mike, can he remain a leader while being an NFT guy?
Well, they fucking all are, man. Daryl's getting in their fucking bloodstream. Daryl last night.
They have too much money.
Everyone has too much money. Daryl was shit posting me last night. Did you see this?
No.
On Twitter?
No.
I post a harmless tweet that said getting a nice early lead over the Hawks is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And then here comes the GM of the Sixers, Daryl Morey, sending me a GIF. We're back and forth. And I said, I'll submit a list of demands along with therapy copays you should be covering. And he says, you will get some shitcoin crypto and like it. Daryl, you're a professional. This is your job. You're swearing at me. And you're talking in words I don't understand. The NFT and the crypto being a sponsor is brutal, and it's just not something that I care to ever give a fuck about.
Yeah.
Whether I have no interest in even getting into an argument about whether it's worth it. It's obviously horrible for the environment, or one of them is. I really fuck them. They're the same to me. But I'm more skeptical of just like, you're fucking like anyone that's like that vocal about their hobby,
and that hobby being this is just
it's just so suspect to me. I don't care. Like, I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons guy, but like they've been doing them for a long time, and they're like, yeah, we do this. It's cool. It's fine. But they're not like trying to convert you. It's like, it's evangelizing. It's so bizarre, and it immediately makes me like not want to give a fuck or learn about it at all. Obviously, because it's finance. Like, I don't give a fuck. And the whole team is in on it, except for Joel and except for Maxi. So please don't let them do that. It just seems like such a scam and a stupid scam. And for ostensibly smart people to be involved in it just makes you like, imagine if the Sixers win a fucking championship and like on their fucking jersey, it's like crypto. Like, it's just that sucks. That just sucks. It sucks. Oh my God. What if it was just like $50 bills? Like, that's the new currency. That's what we care about. We love only 50s. Like, who gives a fuck? Just relax, everyone. Holy, it
will only make super rich people more rich. But I do have, I am suspicious of anyone who puts Bitcoin in their Twitter bio. Suspicious of it. But I do have, and we don't need to ask him right now, but I do have a suspicion that CJ is a Bitcoin guy or an NFT guy or something. I've never seen proof of this. He reminds me a little bit of Andrew Porter, who I worked with at WIP, and Porter was like a sneaky like crypto NFT guy or whatever. And I think that it's possible that our producer CJ may be. Hopefully, somebody from his friend group can reach out and tell us whether he is or not. But
I obviously have friends who are. To me, I just like, look, someone's gonna tweet at me saying like, here's the difference in them, and I tell you, I don't give a fuck. You are talking to someone who does not give a shit. I don't care. Don't waste your time. You're going to anyway. I don't give a shit. I won't read it. It's candy loser shit. It's all loser shit. Now we're talking about candy. Let's go.
Yeah. Our candy discussion is brought to us by our friends at Kinetic Skateboarding. It is your snowboard headquarters, the special for Ricky listeners only. If you buy a brand new snowboard from Kinetic, you get free tunes for life. And Ben tells me this is when you sharpen the edges and wax the bottom of a snowboard or a pair of skis. A tune or a tune-up is what it's called. Buy it from Kinetic, get free tunes for life. All right. These are the top 10 candies as polled. They polled kids 8 to 18. These are the top 10. Number 1, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Number 2, Snickers. Number 3, Twix. Number 4, Kit Kat. Number 5, M&M's. Number 6, Nerds. Number 7, Butterfingers. Number 8, Sour Patch Kids. Number 9, Skittles. And number 10, the Hershey Bar. Is there anything in that top 10 that seems suspect to you? For me, there's no way M&M's are the 5th favorite candy from kids 8 to 18. I just never see kids being like, you know what, I want some fucking M&M's. It seems suspect to me. M&M's are fine, but they can't be anybody's favorite candy.
I feel like Twix is low.
At 3?
I thought you were going the other way. Okay. 3 is suitable. I just think Twix is the most like universally liked candy. It just feels like everybody's always like, we have a bag. We have like a little pumpkin of candy, hoping to get some trick-or-treaters. Probably will be disappointed. I feel like no one ever fucking comes anywhere anymore.
Well, so my neighborhood is the new neighborhood I live in. It's some like wild trick-or-treat street or something.
Oh, sure.
starting at 3:00 in the afternoon, they close off the street. You're not allowed to drive on it from 3 to 8, just so
Yikes.
more trick-or-treaters can come.
Well, that's good. I mean, look, some slight serious PSA. Like, there's a lot of car accidents on Halloween. There's kids like walking around. Like, be careful, please.
Yeah.
And it's nice that they close off the street. I think that's good. But there's a bag. There's always everyone's just like searching for the Twix. Like universally, everyone wants the Twix. You're digging through Milky Ways and Three Musketeers and fucking Kit Kats, and you're like, give me that Twix. Like, let me hit that Twix. It's like, it's just universally liked. You could be in the mood for a Starburst or something more for it. Like, it's certainly whatever. But like, I just feel like not even I like Twix. I'm not a big I got on dark chocolate about 5 years ago, and I've never gone back. But it just seems to me like everybody. It's a universal. It's the most. We should, bring people together over Twix. Like, I feel like it's bridging divides.
See, my thing with dark chocolate, it tastes fine, but it tastes worse than milk chocolate. I mean, I think they're almost different things. Milk chocolate is a tastier chocolate, right?
They're different. I prefer dark chocolate. Maybe it's because I've convinced myself I prefer dark chocolate, but I definitely prefer it. Milk chocolate. It feels too like, I don't like. Light, I don't know. Dark chocolate hit me dark chocolate with like sea salt, and I'm all the way there. Like, load up on the cacao. Alyssa, anti-cacao. If Alyssa gets a cacao over 75, I've made a mistake. But for me, like, give me cacao up at the 80s, early 90s cacao. 100 cacao too much. I'm not there yet. I'm not like
it's not even sweet.
I'm not a professional cacao eater. Like, let's calm down. But like, give me like an early 90s, like a late 80s cacao. I'm there. I'm there for that.
The other thing about Twix being number 3, whereas Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, which are amazing, and Snickers, which are very good, is that Twix does not have the disadvantage of the peanut allergy kids not being able to eat it, which I think also makes it more universal. Everybody likes caramel. I agree with you. Twix.
It's just the perfect thing because it's not so much caramel. Like, it's not like a ton of it. And it has is it a graham cracker? Is that what, like, crushed up graham cracker? Is that what the like?
No, it's like just some wafer or something. Okay. I don't think it's graham.
And then it's the right combination of everything. And they always had good commercials for it. It's really good. And thank you for calling out the peanut allergy kids, as I am one.
Yeah.
And it was, you have to dig through. Look, Halloween's a scary time for kids with allergies. You're digging through. You're not sure. Everyone, all my friends is growing up like trying to fuck with me, being like, "Why are you going this one?" Like, it's look, it's scary out there. Car accidents and shitty teens fucking with you.
You end up like the girl in Hereditary with your head on the side of the road because you ate chocolate with peanut in it or whatever.
I trust that is a horror movie reference that is not for me.
I just ruined a horror movie for a lot of people. I'm sorry. It's the word. I apologize. Ranked last in the candy rankings for 8 to 18-year-olds was Junior Mints. I really like a Junior Mint. A mint and a chocolate is really good. I'm not specifically Junior Mint. I think that maybe the candy itself is whatever, but like the mint and a chocolate together is I'm very high on that. I think mint should only be for toothpaste and like breath mints or I feel like you shouldn't be eating mint. That's my problem with mint ice cream or whatever. It's not a flavor you eat. Blow Pop Junior Mints and Mounds / Almond Joy. And my thing with Junior Mints is like, why would you eat a Junior Mint when there's like a Milk Dud around?
I easily prefer a Junior Mint to a Milk Dud. Absolutely.
What?
Absolutely. Not close. Milk Dud to me is just diarrhea. It looks and feels and everything about it is like this. You're heading down a dark path, and those Milk Duds are coming out your butt. Junior Mints is a refreshing and yet chocolatey treat. And I will ride with that for sure.
Wizards, Blazers, both off to a little too good start for us to, dip in. Unfortunately,
Wizards especially, man, Texas sharp.
5-1 Wizards. Blazers are 3-2. So we're gonna have to keep waiting on that one. So.
Blazers interesting. CJ McCollum's having an incredible season so far. Wow. Absolutely insane, and not just offensively. He is loading up on steals and blocks. He looks good. He's averaging like 6 threes a game, made threes a game. It's unbelievable. And Dame hasn't played well, really. Maybe they should just build around CJ. Get Dame out of there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Get somebody that can pass CJ the ball a little bit more. Play some defense in there.
We'll take on their problem player.
We'll take on their problem player. We'll take on Covington as a sweetener.
Yep. If we need to.
It was funny to see the there's been any time like Sixers stats or whatever posts like basically it's just like a Matisse propaganda network at this point, which is I'm totally fine with because it's just like steals and blocks numbers and like here's the most steals and blocks since this season, whatever. And it's just almost all former Sixers. It's Covington, it's Nerlens, it's Andre Drummond, and then it's like I think Anthony Davis the only other one. But like this team has had a lot of. It's fun to see like Covington and Nerlens being in those lists.
Disruptive, disruptive defenders. Nerlens hasn't gotten on the court yet, unfortunately, this year. Before we get to our YouTube comment of the week and a mailbag, a couple of mailbag emails, but one from a gentleman who listened to the Ricky on his wedding day and has just a disgusting story about it. LL Pavorsky Jewelers is where Mike bought his engagement ring for Alyssa. Told me, Mike privately, has not said this on the pod. He said, when I went in to purchase the ring from Lee and the entire experience, Mike said this privately. I don't know if he'll agree to this. He said it was actually better than getting engaged. He said the process of buying the ring from Lee was actually the best part of the getting engaged process.
Lee was so good selling me and walking me through this ring. Alyssa was there as we picked it out, that I almost proposed to him. I almost made a decision in the moment to propose to Lee instead.
Wouldn't have been a bad choice. 241 Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners have purchased rings from LL Pavorsky. Lee hitting me up earlier this week that he has run out of Ricky t-shirts to give to his Ricky customers. Can he please buy some of the Bark in the Park shirts? Please. So that's the kind of... He's like, the listeners get so excited when I get them the t-shirt. It's like, Lee, I love free shit. Come on. So LL was our original sponsor. He is who you buy an engagement ring from. And with Christmas coming up and all that kind of New Year's, you might want to propose. You might just want to get a gift. 215-627-2252. By appointment only in store. He reminded me. By appointment only. You can email him, lee@llpavorsky.com, or tweet at him @llpavorsky. Of course, that store is 707 Walnut. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
My fiance.
All right. YouTube comment of the week. Of course, the pod is on YouTube as well. This comes from Jonah Shepard. Mike coming up with music questions is like B-ball Paul on offense, just trying his best, even if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I didn't even need the explanations part of the sentence, but I agree. Yeah. I agree a lot. Great.
Well I thought my favorite music question that you asked, I think we are a good balance on that because my questions tend to be pretty music-y and yours are just like normal person questions. My favorite one was like, do you ever feel ridiculous doing music? Like singing?
I do. I ask everyone that. And no one's gotten really upset about it. I feel like I asked a similar question to Andrew Yang, and he didn't take it well. But all the music people we've had on have been very nice about my stupid questions. But Alyssa was like, "Why are you asking them if like their life's work is stupid? Like, just shut up." But I do think it is silly to me. There's something silly about it. Obviously, there's something silly about everything I do, and so like I'm not like removing myself from what is silly, but something about like imagine if I just started singing all of my Sixers takes. Yeah, and people are like, I like his Sixers takes, and I also like the way he harmonizes with it. It just seems there's something silly about it, and I haven't ever vocalized it in the right way, but somewhere in my mind, it's like this is all stupid. Right? I like music, I like their music especially, but it's silly.
One of the best parts of that interview, if you go back and watch it on YouTube, is the just sort of like, I can't believe I'm doing this smirk that Adam had on his face the entire pod.
Well, the grapes, I think, belied that. I think that became very clear.
Yeah. The noisy grapes. To the mailbag, Rights to Ricky Sanchez. He thought he was being so slick too. He was quietly reaching for his quiet grapes, like he brought them into the movies or something, but the rustling was so loud. Rights to Ricky Sanchez @gmail.com. Remember to send us a basketball and a non-basketball question. This comes from Pete. Hey guys, just wanted to let you know that I was listening to the podcast this morning while getting ready for my wedding. It's a shame the Sixers are scheduled to play the Hawks today. Anyway, the reason I'm writing is because I pooped and I left a little stain on the bowl and had to do the hustle move with the flush and then wipe off the bowl so my wife wouldn't see the said stain when we returned to our room later that evening to have sex for the first time as husband and wife. Thank you for sharing that move with me so I could avoid the embarrassment and not kill the mood. By the way, I bought her an engagement ring from LL as well as our wedding bands. He's the best. Yep.
Ricky listeners having sex.
Yep.
Isn't
The night of their wedding. Getting married and then having
you got to
sex.
look, I've obviously done the hustle move before the bowl fills up and before you get there and you wash your hands immediately. Like, of course, like I've done it. It's not something I'm proud of, but you do it. But for bigger occasions like a wedding, you got to get some of those like one use brushes kind of thing that you use in there. And then maybe if any of those companies want to sponsor us, I think that would be great. I feel like
one-use brush companies?
Yeah, I forget what it's called. Someone knows.
We should probably have a Tushy sponsorship at this point, right?
It's like a stick that like plugs into essentially like what looks kind of like a sponge or like a pad.
Yeah, that you wipe off your
you like go around the bowl and then you immediately like throw it out like right away. Like that is for big occasions like the day of your wedding, as you're listening to this podcast, and thinking about the sex you'll have later. Hopefully the first sex you've ever had, if you're an honorable person. Don't put your hands in there the day of your wedding. Don't do that.
I imagine him all tucked up, hair done, reaching into the bowl, wiping the poop off the side of the bowl just so his wife won't be disgusted by him.
No.
This comes from Alan. Dear Spike and Mike, I've been introducing my daughter, Cecile, age 7, to the Sixers and more importantly to the Ricky. We sometimes break into the Ricky theme song when we are proven correct about something. We also sing it when we are incorrect, but still feel like we're correct. Great. So she's learning some important lessons about moral victories. While she was home from school during the early part of the pandemic, I started giving her selected Ricky jigsaws to pass the time. I've asked her about emitting 5 farts every hour, eating dog food, and fighting chickens and orangutans, but haven't yet mentioned the tanks and the babies. Feel like she needs to be maybe 9 or 10 to really deal with that. She has a jigsaw for you, which she brought to me yesterday out of the blue. So this is a jigsaw from a 7-year-old from Cecile. Would you rather have your real hair replaced with clown hair, or would you rather have your stomach where your butt is and your butt where your stomach is? She means your butt and your stomach would switch places externally, so you'd have to poop by sort of lying down across the toilet.
I like that.
And you would always have to sit on what is now your belly. The clown hair could not be cut or dyed, obviously. It would always be bushy and fake looking and garish and multicolored. You could wear a hat, but only a clown hat with a flower in it.
So the pooping out of your stomach is interesting because you could like go in there like you're essentially like delivering a baby into the toilet. Or you could just do like a full like plank on the toilet. Yeah. Where your stomach is just like just overhead. Yeah. Sort of like a blimp and just dropping something onto the toilet.
And then wiping your stomach, by the way.
And then wiping your stomach, which is like sort of like doing the like, I just had a nice meal circular motion.
CJ, of course, would wipe his stomach the wrong way.
Wow. just ripping CJ as he stays on video mute. Just letting it all happen. CJ's friends furious. I think I go clown hair. I think sitting on your stomach, like when you drive, is hard. Like there's things that like I respect this 7-year-old more than I respect myself, but I think there's some things that haven't been fully thought out. Yeah. But the idea of like, oh, I want a little snack while I'm driving, and then just like put something in your butt. Like a couple chips in your butt as a snack is pretty funny. But I'll probably go clown hair. I think as much as I want to make Cecile happy, I'll probably go clown hair.
Yeah, you and me both. And then the final email, this comes from Zach. Hey guys, thank you, by the way. This has been a very good off season and season full of emails. So thank you to everybody. Sorry we don't get to everybody all the time. This comes from Zach. There hasn't been much discussion about Embiid not getting surgery on his meniscus over the off season. Now it's already night one, and he was grabbing his same knee all game. This is obviously a little older. Pompey just tweeted out a picture of Embiid warming up at shoot-around just now with his right knee heavily wrapped up. Why isn't his lack of surgery a bigger topic right now? Granted, there may or may not be a bigger story going on right now with the team, but I haven't heard this mentioned anywhere. Every time you say something like this, somebody will say, well, it's his body. He gets to decide. But when you're a pro athlete, you sort of get, that's, I think, public conversation. There were a bunch of people that did question in the offseason him not getting surgery on it because a meniscus doesn't really heal itself. And the fact that it's an issue right away, I don't know. I would love to know what went into the, not that I know the correct answer here, but I would love to know the information that went into the decision not to have surgery is, I guess, all I would say.
Yeah. Because he hasn't spoken, at least to my knowledge, like that thoroughly about like his decision to have it or not have it. I think he's basically just said like manage the pain.
Yeah.
He might also just be tired of having surgery.
Like, yeah.
He's had a number of them. And he's a big guy. Like it's not a no risk procedure, and it's certainly not something that he's stoked to do. I guess he's just like, I can just keep it going. But also like the reason I don't talk about them, it's just like I'm not a doctor. Like I don't know. Like
I don't know what to say. Yeah.
And also we've done so many, like how many Sixers fucking things have we done about people being injured in like various knees and feet and ankles and stuff healing in the proper way, and then for a brief time like a shoulder that might not have been injured at all. Yeah, just not good at talking about it. I think like if I feel we've had doctors on or something occasionally, and it's like, I don't know, it's boring. It's boring to talk about. It's like, you're healthy, you're not healthy. I guess we'll see how you play. He's not playing, he looked better last night, but has been banged up a little bit. Alyssa's still in a walking boot, by the way, having to wear it for 2 more weeks. Her doctor gave her a reevaluated in 2 weeks for her very sprained ankle. But yeah, I'm not, I think I'm worse talking about injuries than I am talking about music.
I've had a walking boot before, and they look so bad that you almost wish you had a cast and crutches. I mean, I hated wearing a walking boot. I remember being so disappointed when I sprained my ankle that they gave me a walking boot. I was like, oh man. And then non-basketball question from Zach. What is your most controversial non-sports opinion?
Oh, I don't. It's a list of many. I don't have that queued up.
I
mean, I guess this is something just my people that listen to this podcast will not be surprised to hear this, but like people always be like, well, we shouldn't judge other people. And I think that that's the dumbest fucking thing in the world. I think that's ridiculously dumb. Like, how many times do you tell kids like, okay, use your best judgment? Like you're judging other people for actions that they take and stupid shit that they believe to then factor into yourself how I'm going to react to that person, whether I'm going to be friends with that person or get in a car with that person or listen to what that person has to say or vote for that person, whatever the fuck it is. You use your judgment. You judge other people for their actions and words. Like that's what you do. That's what we should do as humans. Like
Mike, pro judging.
Yes.
That's
always.
All we do.
Absolutely.
All we do is judge people. Yeah. I've mentioned mine so many times. Like, I don't think Springsteen is good. I don't like mob movies. I don't like cartoon movies. I think there's a difference. Excuse me. There's a difference between saying they're bad and I don't like them, though. I don't inherently think that cartoon movies, even though they're for children, are bad. I do think Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter are the same thing. That's another opinion that people tend to not like. I feel like I've got a lot of almost too many for my own good. I know people think they're disingenuous, but they're not.
Do you want to hear a little breaking Keith Pompey news?
Sure.
Keith, September 11th, Pompey.
Yeah.
There's a sense around the league that the Sixers could try to play Simmons at some point during their 6-game road trip from November 13th to the 24th, even though the team says there's no timetable for his return. This is apparently during a long stretch of games that will mostly be on the road.
Wonder if they think they could get him on the court, get him traded before they ever come home.
I mean, I feel like they're not thinking about the trade happening that quickly. It's not like he plays one game and everyone's like, okay, we're ready now. Here's Bradley Beal. Although weirdly, Dinwiddie is who I love, but like Dinwiddie thinks that he is just as good as Bradley Beal.
He's old, but that's part of Dinwiddie. That's always been part of Dinwiddie.
A little bit, yeah.
He's a crypto guy, by the way.
I know, Spike. I know everyone is. I don't care. This is honestly why I don't. Maybe this is part of my music guy. Like I don't listen. Like obviously, I have a number of favorite bands, musicians. Like I never really watch music documentaries because I just like don't want to know. Like I don't want to know if like, my favorite bands are shitty, like or like an asshole. Like I don't want. I'd rather not know that. Like I'd rather stay away. And so like this is also. I'd rather not know that. But I know that Spencer Dinwiddie is like deep crypto. He tried to like get paid in crypto. He tried to crowdfund like his contract.
Yeah.
To be like, pay me to tell me where to go. And he raised like $30. And it's like, all right, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I think if they're trying to be mindful about it, probably with Ben's team, they would like, hey, can we do a couple games on the road before we bring him home? So like the shine is away. But I think once again, that's underestimating Philadelphia fans that don't like Ben Simmons because they're not going to forget. Like they're not going to be like, oh, you've played before. Like people are going to take the first opportunity if they are predisposed to do that. Some people won't, obviously, but I think a majority arena likely would loudly. You're not going to, when you hear like 3/4 of the arena booing, you're not hearing like 25% like not booing. You're not like hearing them just like sit quietly and being like, we'll see how it goes.
It's also underestimating the need for a news cycle that like his first game in front of the Wells Fargo Center would be, and like, what if like, there's just so many things that feel like they could go wrong here. What if he misses his first 4 free throws? I know that sounds like it's nothing, but it could be like a fucking disaster. I don't know. We'll see. There is a sense around the league. I wonder who says that.
Sense.
Who told him that? I wonder. Sense around the league is not the clutch thing. Wonder who said that to him. Maybe
I guess my other, and I'll whisper this so that
Brian Windhorst,
so that people that listen to this podcast that I'm friends with, that I like and respect, don't hear. But like, so much of journalism is just fucking someone telling you something and then you sending it out. Like, come on. Like, what do we do? Like, how much digging, how much like looking through FOIA documents are you fucking doing? Like, someone texted you something and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go with it. I mean, like, well, you have to like know your sources, and it's like, okay, so you're like schmoozing them and like hanging out with them. Like, people have jobs where they go to like, a lot of, I'm not trying to, but like a lot of, I'm assuming a lot of your job isn't like, don't you like have to like pal around with like business people and like you go to like club box seats to like a concert and stuff, and like that's journalism. Like it's just like be schmoozing and networking. That's in every job. And so
I am your view of my job. I'm vice president of programming for WFAN.
No, of course, but you have to,
I'm schmoozing at concerts.
But everyone like even like fucking the head of Viacom or whatever the fuck is like still trying to like get wine and dine people and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's part of it. I think, unfortunately, you using Keith as a window into talking about journalism is
it's not Keith specific. I love Keith and I love 9/11, and I think that it's good. I appreciate what journalism does for us, but a lot of journalism, especially sports journalism,
and especially
is just like, hey, this agent told me this, or hey, this player texted me this, that he's pissed off and thinks this other player sucks. Like this, I don't know.
I said, should I even say his name? I shouldn't say his name. There was a formerly Philadelphia-based NBA writer who got mad at me once because I dismissed his reporting as transactional. But it's in the NBA, and I wasn't trying to say that he didn't work hard or anything like that. But the NBA I guess the NFL has proven this now. Like the whole news breaking part of journalism.
Yes, exactly.
Which I think is what you're talking about.
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
Of sports journalism is 100% transactional because they have no reason to tell you unless it benefits them. And it doesn't
Sure.
mean that some of it isn't true, but it does.
It's not
make
like
it-
you're an archaeologist, like digging through a ton of dirt and like analyzing the samples and going like, hey, we
Yeah.
found one.
Right.
Dinwiddie's option got picked up. Like, it's just you're being told this thing by someone who wants you to report it. Like, that's bullshit.
All right. We will we'll talk to you later this week. And have a happy Halloween.
Be
If
safe.
you're anywhere near me, my house has full-size candy bars.
Oh, full size guy.
Bro, new neighborhood. I gotta come correct. I had panic moment yesterday when I didn't have enough candy when I found out that they closed down the street. I'm like, oh my God, is 180 bars enough? I hope. Fingers crossed.
You're doing one full size to each kid.
Correct.
I don't think honestly, I don't think it is. I don't if it's a street closure and you're a full size guy, I might be getting some more. I mean supplement with a couple, like, okay, later in the night it becomes like minis. By the way, I prefer
I couldn't find
several
minis yesterday.
That's
I
fair.
couldn't find
I
them.
prefer several minis to a bar. I know
Yes.
bar always gets a good like everyone loves, like they're giving out full bars at fucking this house. But a couple minis where you get the variety of it, I think is the right level. Because you're honestly like, by like your sixth gold bar of Hershey's, you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm eating it just like for so it looks nice enough to like fold over evenly so I can save it for later. No one's having a full. I mean, look, I've been in dark places for sure, and I'll rip through like 7 minis, and that counts as the same one. But at least let me feel like I'm having little tiny ones.
7 minis is also less calories. If you eat the candy, the same amount of candy in one bar versus several minis, the minis are calorie free.
It's like watching like 8 episodes of a TV show is actually way less time than watching one movie. Like watching one movie is crazy. It's too long. But 8 episodes of TV show for like 4 hours, that's fine.
We'll talk to you later this week. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah. Lick face.
Oh, War on Drugs.
But I'm rising.